the live chat right away here so I don't miss any messages. Anyways, I hope you're all having a good evening. I just thought it'd be fun to come down here and start running some trains. We've actually got a DCC sound locomotive on this evening, which is not something that is on the layout too often. Ah, terrific. See if I can get a decent shot of it going through the crossing here. Go Veer, go home. How are you doing this evening? Okay, I didn't quite have enough time to do the correct horn combination, but I still think that looked nice. How are you doing tonight? Not bad. How about yourself? Hey, SMT, do you have a good spring break? I don't have a spring break anymore. I'm not in school. I'm working. Go Veer, go home. Good you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a Monday, but not a bad day on the job. And yesterday was terrific. I couldn't believe it. I went to the first train show I've gone to since basically 2019, and it was quite the event. And the markets were just amazing. Every table was just packed with stuff because all the sellers, you know, they haven't been going to train shows either. So basically, there was kind of like a glut of stuff for sale that people just wanted to get rid of. So yeah, I walked away with some pretty amazing deals. There'll be a video on it soon. Nice. I just went to the Kitchener model train show and it was stocked. I'm glad to hear that. Can't believe how big the channel's gotten. Love the videos. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Yeah, I'm surprised myself. SMT, can you try to run the Canadian FP45 pulling a flat car with your N scale FP45 in it? N scale FP45. I think I know the one you're talking about. I'm not sure where it is right now. I could, of course, I could do something similar though. I get the concept here. Can you run the cab forward? Yeah, we can run that. But first we're going to create something kind of unusual. Provided this has a coupler, it will be my engine of choice. Now we just need to find a flat car that will be compatible with this thing and we'll be in business. Let's put that there for now. SMT, do you fix trains? I like to think so. Now, if I can successfully find a flat car, maybe we can make that work too. Ah, look at the minty brakes on that. How's the channel going, and are you having a good evening? I think the channel is going pretty well, and yeah, I'm having a great evening. Gonna run some trains. SMT, can I ask something? Yeah, go right ahead. Now, all I need to find is my coupler conversion car, and we can make this happen. What's the most expensive train you have? This engine right here, this little steam engine right here, cost me 600 Canadian dollars. Not that kind of money I typically spend on an HO scale locomotive. I mean, that's quite a bit of money, but it was a sort of a sentimental one because there used to be a tourist railroad in the area, and the train actually went by my grandfather's house up in Chelsea, and my parents would sometimes take the train at night. They'd go on like a date. They called it the dinner train, and they would serve a great meal on it and stuff. They would drop me off at my grandfather's house, and we'd actually see them go by on the train. So it was always a great experience. Just gonna switch this over to DC power here. SMT, I live in Michigan. Well, it's a pretty cool place. Been there once. My dad was actually born there. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. We actually have a Santa Fe Super Chief pulling an N-scale one. Have you ever been to Massachusetts? Yeah, sure have. It's been a long time, though. I think this thing needs a little more power. I hope the N-scale unit doesn't fall off the back. Oh, boy. How's the new layout coming along? There hasn't really been much progress lately, if I've been honest. I've just been too busy to work on it, but I really want to get working on it soon. I also want to finally complete the Hershey factory, which is really not too far away from completion, but still needs some work. Do you have any British locomotives? Yeah, I've got a couple of those, and at a train show I visited recently, I actually managed to acquire a couple more, but that will be a surprise. Where's Nerf Cat? I don't know. Probably somewhere upstairs. Hey, SMT, have you been to Sault Ste. Marie, Quebec, or Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, on the Algoma Central Rail? I can't say I have. Sault Ste. Marie, I think it's called. I'm not pronouncing that right. Hello from Australia. Oh, we got somebody watching from the land down under. Now, somebody wanted me to run a cab forward. I don't see why we can't make that happen, so I'm just going to go find it, and we'll start running it around the layout. There are the big boys. There we are. Tom S. Hey, SMT, I'm going to a train show this weekend. Well, that's exciting. Bought a secondhand Bachmann Santa Fe HO set for $20, nearly complete, but it was missing the PSU, but the set still works. The PSU, I don't know what that is, but glad to hear you bought a train set so cheap. What a great deal. What's the rarest train you got? I think it's the Hiawatha. These things are pretty hard to come by. I was fortunate enough to have a family member who happened to have one, but yeah, I've never seen one in person other than that model. They're very, very rare. Can you run the good old Hiawatha? I can run the new Hiawatha, but the Rivarossi Hiawatha only gets taken out on occasions. It's a special engine, and frankly, I usually service it before sending it out just because it does have a pretty sensitive drive. Controller Packers, welcome to the live stream. Any tips for maintaining steam locomotives? I mean, it's not really any different than maintaining an HO scale diesel, you know, just keep everything clean and lubricated. Of course, you do have the drivers on the sides, though. You need to make sure those are well lubricated, or else it will put a ton of strain on the drive. And in some rare cases, you have to quarter your wheels, but it's not super common, and you have to be pretty skilled to do that. I've never been able to master the art. Now, where is this? Hello from Cincinnati, Ohio. Oh, we got somebody in from Cincinnati. Terrific city. This is going to be tricky to do with one hand. Hold on a moment. All right. I thought this thing had a conventional coupler. Well, I guess not. I'll just run it around one loop without anything behind it. Can you buy an Australian locomotive from Sakesian Models? I tried. They're really expensive, though. Like, to buy an Australian locomotive, I think it was going to cost something like 400 Canadian dollars. Do you know about the movie The Polar Express? I saw it in the theaters when it came out in 2004. Terrific movie. Has a lot of really odd scenes, as you know most Tim Burton films do, but I enjoyed it. Exchange rates are crazy. Shipping too. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was going to cost $50 just to ship the locomotive. And yeah, luckily, I think the Canadian dollar is worth slightly more than the Australian dollar, but it's only by a few cents, so it's not like there's an amazing savings there. How's the Hershey factory coming along? Not a crazy amount of progress within the last couple of weeks, but I'm really eager to get it done as soon as possible. It's like 90% of the way there. It just needs that like last little bit of effort poured into it, and it will be done and complete. I can't wait to see the day, to be honest with all of you. Nicholas Schultz, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Hi, SMT. I find your repair videos very helpful in fixing my locomotives. From Nicholas. Thanks for your comment. Anyway, I have to pick something else to run now. Can you please run the big boy? Well, we can run the big boy later in the live stream. Can you run an FP45? Why not? Harrison, how many loops can you run simultaneously? Well, they can all be run together, that's for sure. You'll run into a lot more problems, though, especially if you're swapping out DC for DCC locomotives. Looks like we have got a super chat from SE. Hey, SMT, after the FP, can you run a steam locomotive? You're awesome. Thank you so much for the super chat and comment. Yeah, we can absolutely run a steamer. In fact, somebody else, I think, requested the Hiawatha, so I'll go find that, and we'll send it around. A few years ago, I bought an Athearn SW1200 for 20 Australian dollars, and seeing one of your fixing videos helped me. From Connor Roberts. Right on. Anyway, let's get this other one going here. Oh, here you go. I see a steam locomotive. It's even the Atlantic. Absolutely nothing but the best. And there it goes derailing. Swear, so many of these modern steam locomotives have derailing issues, and I think a lot of it comes down to the tender. They put the decoder inside the tender, but the big problem with that is that it creates a lot of tension. So if the wires are not perfectly placed, which they probably aren't on this, it can cause all sorts of funny issues when the locomotive goes into corners and things like that. Hey SMT, I once bought an old lifelike set for $5, but the locomotive is a DOA. DOA, dead on arrival. The rear bogie is the wrong one, and it's all held together by a wire. Also, sadly, all the tracks it came with are rusty. Well, those sets are pretty simple, so if you're willing to spend the time, you might be able to get it kicking again, but honestly, for that kind of money, you might just be better off just buying a whole new set. It really all depends on how much time you're willing to sink into these sorts of things. SMT, where can I send fan mail? Do you have a post office box? Yep. And there's a video somewhere on the channel with that address. I think it's called I Got a Post Office Box. Just put in the channel name and I Got a Post Office Box. You should be able to find it. Where did you get the Go Transit cars at? They were a gift when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. It was Christmas time. And it was actually my uncle, I think, who got them for me. Pretty great gift. They're apparently worth quite a bit of money, too. I wouldn't sell them because got too much nostalgia in them, but it's interesting how much they've appreciated over the years. Hello, SMT. There was a box of vintage locomotives that looked to be from the 60s as they don't run, but if I deliver them, could you see if one of them runs? Maybe so. If you want to send an email to SMT, or not SMT, sorry, scrumptiousmodeltrains@gmail.com, I'd be happy to discuss that with you. Yeah, lifelike sets are not being sold in Australia anymore, so buying a new set is impossible unless I want to spend $300+ on eBay. Well, I don't mean necessarily just buying another lifelike set that's exactly identical. I just mean, you know, buying another train set. But, you know, like I said, those sets are really, really simple. Like, you might be able to get those tracks back if you just throw them in some regular vinegar for long enough. The vinegar will eat away all the rust. And as for the locomotive, you know, that's a pretty common problem on the lifelikes. The clips for the truck can break. But the engine should still theoretically run. So provided all the wiring's intact and the motor works, it might ride the rails once again, but it's all depending on what you're willing to sink into it. How did you get your grandmother's Riverossi Hiawatha? Years ago, when I got my very first train set, she had told me that she had had model trains when she was a kid, and she still had some of them. So there was this one day I went over to her house, and she pulled out this box, and she showed them all to me, including the Hiawatha. And most of them were so far gone that, you know, my family really didn't think it would be likely that any of them would ever work. Except for the Hiawatha, everybody, like, you know, none of us knew anything about trains, but everybody kind of had their money on this one. So we took it around from shop to shop, and we pretty much got the same answer from all of them, which is that this thing is not going to ever ride the rails once again. You know, it's a beautiful display engine, but the chassis is made out of zinc. It's got zinc pest. It's all falling apart. Everything on it is in really bad shape, so you know, it was sort of disappointing hearing all that, but then eventually I decided to start repairing trains myself, and then there was just one day where I just was committed to getting this thing working, and I failed countless times, but it ultimately led to the creation of this YouTube channel, so I owe it a lot. Did you see Athern's announcement that they're doing F-units as well as matching passenger cars in the Roundhouse line? The locomotives will have LED lights and 21-pin DCC connectors. That sounds pretty nice. Controller Packers, can't wait for the next 4th of July video. Maybe next 4th of July you should do some rail fanning in America. Your 2020 July 4th vid was the first vid I saw. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I gotta do something special. Same goes for Canada Day too. Do you have any tips for making HO scale terrain? Keep trees in odd numbers. I find that makes scenes look pretty natural, and mix up the different colors of grass. I find that can add a lot of detail. Hey SMT, I just got a 1989 Canadian Pacific set unused for $125. The best Craigslist find I've found so far. It's the Pac-Man scheme, looking like a great set. Oh, I'm very happy for you. SMT, do you have the GO train being pulled by a DCC steam locomotive like the Big Boy 844 or a vintage Jupiter? Might be able to pull the GO set with the Big Boy, but none of them are DCC. Looks like we got another super chat. Another one from SE. Great story. And we love your grandma's train. Oh, I'm happy to share it. I actually have a few more of her locomotives, which I need to eventually fix up. The only challenge is that some of them were Trix Twin Railway, which ran on 3-rail AC tracks, so the likelihood of me being able to get those going again, I'd say, is not very high. However, she did have a Riverossi steam engine, another Atlantic type, and I have pretty much all the parts for it, so on paper I could get that one going again. What do you think about Walter's Proto? I don't find Walters is the best manufacturer out there, but I like their products, and I feel like they're fairly priced. So, you know, I couldn't speak specifically for one model, but just in general, I do like their products. Hello from Indiana. Welcome. The Hiawatha is the wisdom locomotive out of all your trains. Absolutely. Can you run all of your Tyco Golden Eagles? I don't think they're going to start too well, because I did try to run those a couple months ago, but yeah, why not? Let's get them out. Let's speed the Hiawatha background quickly. Thanks for making these videos. It really puts a smile on my face. I appreciate that. The model railroading community has got to be the best one I think I've ever had the fortune of being a part of, because I'm part of all sorts of other communities, and I can tell you they are not this nice. wonder where the Golden Eagles even are. Usually I store them at the bottom. This is kind of like my Tyco area, but they don't seem to be there. Well, I don't know where the other one is, but I'll try to run this one. I'm sure in the 70s this had to have been the coolest engine any kid could have had on their layout. There's a lot of people that rat on Tyco for not being a great manufacturer, and from a quality standpoint, I can't say I disagree with them, but no other manufacturer in model railroading history has ever made any products that look like this. Super cool. Yeah, I didn't even hesitate too bad. Give it a lot of power, so hopefully it won't get stuck somewhere on the layout. This one's not sounding terribly healthy. Tyco used to make cool toys in general. I'm not too familiar with their other products, to be honest with you, with the exception of the Tyco Turbo Train. That was a pretty cool set. Cars, Trains, and Crossings. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, SMT. I'm Finnegan from PA, and can you please run a Canadian National F7A? Yeah, I think we can make that happen. I know the exact one I want to try to run, too. Apparently it's actually got a proper coupler on it. That's interesting. So the reason I wanted to run this engine right here is because it's actually out of my dad's collection. And when I very first got my train set, which was a little lifelike set with an oval track and 3 locomotives, we had already had this one laying around the house. And I can remember quite vividly on Christmas Day, I was pulling this one from the top of the fridge where he always kept it and cleaning the wheels and putting it on the track. And lo and behold, it fired right to life. And I was super impressed by it, but also he was too, because it was the first time in probably about 20 years he had seen his childhood train run again. And here it is, 15 years later, still kicking. Maybe I spoke too soon. Probably has dirty wheels. Yeah, one of the things about this locomotive too is that the headlight for a long time was out on it. I thought it was broken. I can remember one night when I was younger running it around that same loop of track, and the light just kicked right on, and I was so jazzed about that. I should probably service the drive sometime soon on this, because I don't know when the oil was last changed, but yeah, you got to give these lifelike 5-poles from the 70s credit. Like, they were actually a much better design than their newer counterparts. So there's something new. Anyway, Here's your engine for the Super Chat. Should I shine up my copper train shell or keep it oxidized? Well, it doesn't really make a difference performance wise. It's really just whichever you think looks best. Have you been able to go any train shows lately? That's it's really funny that you asked, because just yesterday, for the first time in over 2 years, I was able to go to a train show, and it was awesome. Couldn't believe it. Favorite Fallen Flag Railroad? The Wakefield train. As for mainstream companies, though, yeah, I'm not really sure on that. Can you run the Chesapeake on fire locomotive? I don't think I want to run that engine for a while, because it keeps having that high current draw issue, and after what happened when I first got it, I'm kind of concerned I'm going to finally destroy the motor on it. You missed a Super Chat. Oh, crap. Oh, here we go. XRCon42. Where would you suggest searching for lifelike gears? I have a lifelike GP38 that I got as a Christmas gift from a buddy. Will it run better if I replace a broken gear? Undoubtedly it will run better. If it's one from the 70s, you can apparently buy gears off of eBay for it. I don't know if David of DB Tech is in here. You might want to reach out to him, because he's fixed some of the lifelike engines from the 70s with eBay gears. I don't know what seller is listing those, but they are available. As for the newer ones, your best bet would just be to buy a spare parts engine and steal the parts off it, because trying to hunt down individual parts is usually very timely, costly, and in some cases it's pretty much impossible, because unless you actually know a train show or something, just looking online, there's very limited inventory. Can you fix the River Rossi Blue Goose? I will have to do that at some point. Can you please run the orange TGV? Yeah, sure. Get something new on. Emery Moody. What causes squealing / sticking sound in that Golden Eagle? This was a common problem with Tyco locomotives. I remember the day I unboxed my great old Golden Eagle in the 70s. As you said, it was the pride of my layout. I'm not 100% sure, to be completely honest with you. I've been trying to hunt down the specific source of that problem for a long time. I think it comes down to a lubrication issue. I think it's the gears rubbing up against each other that create that funny squealing noise, but I'm not 100% sure. I've started putting labella grease in those gearboxes, though, and so far I haven't noticed as many sound issues, so it might just be a matter of just getting some thicker oil in between the gears. But thank you so much for the question and the Super Chat. Are you considering any new Australian locomotives? None in particular. I do want to add more Australian equipment to the layout, because I think Australia's got some pretty cool trains, but in terms of new locomotives, I'm not on the hunt for anything. I would like to at some point buy a B class, though. That'd be pretty rockin'. Do you have any scale trains? I don't know. Oh, we got a comment. Hello, SMT from Quebec. How is it going? Do you know where I can find an SDP40F and old Amtrak cars? By the way, can you run a CN steam engine? I also like your layout. I'm not sure where you could find those things used other than eBay, but everybody knows that. Yeah, we can definitely run a CN steam locomotive. I'll put one up front here so I don't forget, and then we'll run the TGV. seem to be short a car. I don't know where the last one is. I have no idea why I would put back 3 cars and not the 4th. Hey SMT, do you sell any of your locomotives? You're stacking locos on top of each other. That's not good. I haven't. Well, kind of. I've sold hobby engines to a hobby shop before in exchange for credit for the store, so I could buy things for the layout like grasses and trees and things like that. And I've also started giving some away. I don't have an eBay store or anything like that, but it is my intention to continue doing that because you're not wrong. You know, I've got limited space down here, and if I don't do something, I'm going to run out, and that's not a great situation. And furthermore, there are some engines which I really don't have much use for, and it'd be much rather to put them in the hands of people who will actually enjoy them. So, yeah, that is the plan. Now, if I can find car number 4, I can probably actually get this whole train going. I don't know where the heck it's gone. Have you ever devolved into the world of Markland brand trains? I don't know much about Markland or any other 3-rail AC manufacturers. Well, I think I'm gonna have to run a different TGV train because if I can't find this 4th car, I just don't really know what to say. I don't understand why I'd put away 3 cars and not the 4th. It's so stupid. I think I found it. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, I guess I'll have to run something else. Sorry about that, folks. Now, of course, I would run this set, but I haven't fixed those up yet, so I'm kind of thinking the WeGo. Okay, I'm kind of thinking the last car is actually there. In which case, I just took the entire train off the track for nothing, but whatever. Well, looks like we're in business. And back over to the layout we go. Do you have any ABA sets you can run together? I'd imagine somewhere amongst this collection there must be one. We go literally translate to yes go in French. Yeah, it's a pretty cool name. The Southern Pacific AVA. Yes, of course that. don't know. Last time I remember that whole set wasn't running too great. That Athearn engine has some problems, but doesn't mean we can't try it. Hey SMT, the problem with Tyco is the bearing on front of the motor by the brushes. I mean, I haven't noticed too many issues with those bearings, honestly. The biggest problem I have seen is that if you over lubricate them, they drip oil onto the commutator, and then that burns and destroys it. But other than that, I find the bearings have actually been okay. The bigger problem I've had with them is the pivot gear slipping off, or the motor's burning up, or the gearbox being full of stuff because the gears on the bottom are exposed. All right. I might have to do some track cleaning or something because everything's getting stuck here. That's really funny. The tracks are not that dirty here, but then all of a sudden on the bridge, they were like... I don't know. That's odd. What make is the TGV? Jolieff? Jolf? I can't pronounce it correctly. Get a boxcar cleaner. A lot of people swear by track cleaning cars, and I like the idea of it. You just let this thing go around your layout and it does the work for you. But to tell you the truth, I've never had a positive experience with one. I don't find that they... I mean, first of all, you have to run them around like a million times before they do an effective job. They get stuck on things. You have to change the cleaning contacts on the bottom. To each their own. If people really enjoy those things, all the power to them. But I've never found them to be a fantastic tool. And everybody has all sorts of controversial opinions on track cleaning. Like, there are some people in the community that will say you've inflicted a force of evil upon your layout if you use one of these. And I mean, I kind of get it because they strip off, anti-oxidizing layers and stuff. But when you're dealing with really old crummy track, I don't think it makes too big a difference, honestly. I'm also starting to think this engine's... Yeah, this car's had this unique problem where the wheels are kind of coming out of gauge a little bit, so that's why this one kept derailing. Do you own a GG1? Yeah, I got one of those. Okay, hold on a moment. We need to do a quick repair to this, and then hopefully our GG1 will finally... not our GG1, sorry, our TGV will make a lap around the layout. Okay, I think I've done it. Do you have a T1? No, I do not have a model of one of those. Harrison, what's the Discord link? I wish I had it. It's not actually a server I operate, though. It's run by my buddy Liam. He might be in the chat right now. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking this car is doing the exact same thing this one was. Didn't the Discord die? Yeah, the original Discord server did get eliminated, but there's a new one now. I don't entirely know how well operations are going there, because I haven't visited it. Again, it's run by my buddy, but yeah, the original server had some problems. So it no longer exists. I wonder why this is happening on the wheel sets closest to the locomotive. Probably a coincidence. I don't know, there's definitely some tomfoolery going on with that, because you can see they're not even, but whatever, it should work. Also, it looks like we got another super chat. What's the weirdest engine in your collection? Well, I've got this German hydraulic locomotive, and this thing is pretty bizarre in my opinion. I bought something really cool at the train show, though. It's this scratch-built interurban locomotive, and it's got this really wacky drive system, a giant spring as the drive shaft. It looks like it was made in about the 40s or 50s, and I bought it for $5. So yeah, I'll have to show off the train show and then the whole haul that I finally got from it, because there were some really cool things. All right, TGV. Just one lap. Oh, that seems to be running a little bit better. That's one lap. Oh yeah, well I was hoping to get one lap out of it. Now it seems to be going for at least 3. We'll let it do as many as it can without derailing, or at least until it gets boring or something. The problem with Tyco is the bearing on the front of the motor. It makes the squealing noise. I've tried putting oil there. I've tried everything to try to see if that's the issue, and it has not made a difference. So, I mean, I suppose it could be, but as far as I'm aware, it doesn't. And furthermore, if you try to lubricate that bearing, it causes issues, because again, it burns on the commutator. Not a perfectly designed drive system, unfortunately. I'm amazed how well this thing is starting to run. It's not even stuttering. You should try putting the locomotive in 4-wheel drive. Love the videos. What type of grass should I get on my HO scale layout? I mean, it's all a matter of preference and what kind of scene you're building. I mean, if you're building a forest scene, I'd probably recommend a bit of a darker grass. If you're building a front lawn, I'd get a lighter one. My personal favorite is this green blend. I really like the look of it. It's nice and light for grassy scenes. But I also buy this this fine turf labeled as weeds. And I usually use this for forest scenes, and it just darkens them up a little bit, which I think looks nice. Sometimes you can mix them around too. I find that looks good. Oh, will there be a turbo train? I wish there is a turbo train. People are not willing to part ways with one of those without a couple $100 though. Do you ever play Railroads online? If you do, I think it'd be nice to do a play session with a bunch of subscribers. I've never played Railroads online. I've seen some videos of it. Looks like a decent game, but yeah, I never played it myself. Quick question. I recently picked up an Athearn -9 for $80, and it seems like it's only running away on high RPMs and smells like it's burning. What should I do? Hopefully it's not the decoder or the circuit board, because if that's the case, I don't have a clue. But what I would suggest is, check to see if it has warranties or anything. I don't know what the situation with Athearn engines are, but if you're willing, open it up, check to make sure the drive is turning properly, because, if some hair or something got into the gearbox, it could be putting unnecessary strain on the motor. Then you get high current draw, and if you're not careful, you're going to burn something out, especially if you smell a burning smell. There's something's not going right. Something's being strained. So, yeah, check the drive out. That would be my first guess. You run the GG1. We'll let this thing do one more lap, and then we'll do that. SMT, what could cause a modern Athearn locomotive to run slower than usual? It's a modern Athearn engine, which is only about a year old since I bought it. I would, just like the last comment, I would probably investigate the drive, because it's possible something changed. Decoders are funny, so maybe before you go opening it up, the first thing you might want to do is just reset the CVs to factory settings, because it could just be a weird glitch with the decoder. I don't know a crazy amount about decoders, but when I've had weird problems like that, sometimes just doing a reset fixes it. And it's also free, and you don't have to open the engine up, so that's a good place to start. But there's always the chance it is a mechanical problem, in which case I would investigate the drive, make sure it's all turning properly, and if it's not, check it to make sure nothing funky has got into it, because if something like, a strand of hair or really anything, a piece of ballast gets into the drive, it can cause a lot of havoc, so you need to be very, very careful about that. Model Thomas or CGI Thomas? Model Thomas. That's what I grew up with, and it was awesome. And the fact they were actually using model trains, it must have been so hard to produce that show, having an actual scene and using real equipment. CGI, I don't know, it's just so lazy. I never really watched the CGI version, to be fair, but I don't know. Yeah, they say don't knock something until you try it. I'm pretty confident that the original version's better. Hey, SMT, I'm just starting to convert my layout to DCC. What is a good DCC controller? I'm not entirely sure with you, because I've only had 2 different DCC controllers, so I haven't really tried out a bunch of different ones. But I'm sure the people in the comments here might have some opinions on what to get. In case anybody is wondering, I have a Digitrax DCS51, but I am not saying that this is the best controller, because again, I don't know a crazy amount about them. Wigwag Workshop, hey there folks, welcome to the live stream. To me, you either see N or see nothing. That's a good one. Go Veer, Go Home suggests Digitrax. And David ZDG Scale also recommends the Digitrax Zephyr. Ontario Railfan suggests the Digitrax DCS 52. NC Power Cab, that's LNW Belcher. I'll see what the comments on that continue to be. But until then, let's get a GG1 out as requested. I also said I was going to run a Canadian steam engine. I'll run that first because I did say I would run it earlier. But we'll get the GG1 going next. Level Up Model Trains suggests NCE. XR Kun 24 or 42, sorry. Suggests the Digitrax Zephyr, pretty good controller apparently. Joey 3 suggests the DCS 100. A lot of Digitrax. Wow. Wigwag Shop. The DCS 51. What DC controller do you use? The MRC Tech 39500 series. I did say I don't know much about DC controllers, but I can say, from somebody who works with DC a lot, I really like this controller, especially the current draw. A very helpful tool in diagnosing locomotives. They're generally expensive controllers, usually over $100, but you can find them at train shows and even train stores for under 50 bucks. I've seen them going for as low as 10, so if you could pick one up cheap, I have no issues with recommending it. How old are you? 20. Ontario Rail 12. I guess it all comes down to personal preference for DCC controllers. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a part of it. I think it's the difference why somebody might buy a Honda or one person might buy a Toyota. You know, everybody's got different tastes, and maybe in the case of DCC controllers, you know, one controller might be better for switching while another is better for just running stuff around. I don't know. I'm no expert on DCC, but you know, there's got to be a reason people pick different things. But what I will agree with is that, you know, maybe one's more popular than the other. The MRC Protege Advance 2 is also decent. Nowhere near as good as Digitrack and NCE, though. My MRC system had a bad habit of activating two functions at once. I have a Heinz pickle car and a Doritos car, both cars. I was wondering, would you want them? That's all right, thanks. Sharp our main line. Hey, SMT, you inspire me to start a YouTube channel. Have some tips. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself like a total expert on YouTube or anything, but the one thing that I will say after running a few channels over the years is make the content in the same genre. And what I mean by that is, you know, if you make videos about trains, make all your videos about trains. Don't make things outside that, because what a lot of people do, I find, is they mix up their content. So they'll be like, you know, one day they'll make a video about trains and the next they'll make a video about go-karts. And both videos are great. I'm not saying one's bad, but you know, the people who are interested in the go-karts might not like the train videos and vice versa. So if you want to make videos about different things, separate them. That's probably my key piece of advice for YouTube. And I don't know, make the videos about something you care about. Because if you have a passion for something, it definitely helps. Yeah, most definitely focus on one set audience. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, if you're not looking to grow a channel, I mean, just do whatever you want. But all I'm saying is that if you're looking to grow a channel, I think that's one thing that doesn't help. Anyway, we'll let this go around one more time, and then I think we'll get the GG one out on the layout. I have an MRC decoder that cannot be read by JMRI. Could it be proprietary to MRC? I'm not sure. Could it be locked? If I can't reset it, it can't be read. Well, hopefully somebody in the comments will have an answer to that. I wish I could say what I thought was going on, but really don't know enough about DCC to have a clue. SMT, did you ever get both big boys to be able to double head? I've never done such a thing, and I mean, it wouldn't really work that well because the couplers on the front of them are not, they're artificial couplers. They don't actually work. They're just there for cosmetic purposes. So if you wanted to do something like that, you'd have to be pretty creative, but I do want to try it at some point, somehow. NC and Digitrax are the same price point to start with. DCC NC is 2 amps, Digitrax is 3 amps, if that's a determining factor for you. So yeah, more amps, more equipment available, I guess, if you really want to run a ton of trains together. Can you crank out the big boy? I've been inspired by you to create a layout of my own. Just wanted to thank you for bringing me back into the hobby. Yeah, I guess we can get the big boy out after this one. I just don't like running it every other minute because it gets requested a lot. It is a very popular locomotive. But gotta give some of the other engines a chance. Now, as for this one, it actually sounds like it's derailed or something. Oh, this is the wrong one. Do you have any TTX cars? Can't say I do. How old is that GG1? Probably about 25. Can you show us the Blue Goose? Yeah, sure. Ah, there she is. you have any siblings? Yeah, I've got a younger sister. Well, that's come off the track. I guess we'll run something else now. Like, for example, a Union Pacific big boy. How about the GO train? I did say I was going to run that earlier. Why don't we try to hook it up to the big boy? Can we see the Hershey's factory? Yeah, sure. What's the oldest train you have? I'm not 100% sure. The Hiawatha is from 1951, but I have some other engines which could date back to the 1940s. I'm not 100% sure, though. I am sure this is a 1951 model, though, because of the chassis I bought for it. So I know which age this one is. The other ones, it's a maybe they are kind of situation. Is the factory close to being finished? I'd say it's about 90% complete. Pretty close in my books. Oh boy. I need to sort out the coupler on this thing. It's ridiculous. It's never worked properly. What's left to do on the factory? I've got to finish the back of the factory, just kind of, well, I'll kind of show all of you. So there's just little details around here that need to be completed. This part is pretty much there, just, again, small things. I need to paint the lines in the parking lot, add more handrails. But the back is really where a lot of effort needs to be put in. I need to complete these windows, add piping to the roof, and cover this up with something just to give it a more complete look. And that's really just a matter of building little AC units. A lot of it is complete. It's super close, but it's just those tiny little details to get it over that last 10% mark. It's really all it requires. I don't really know what to say about this coupler. I don't think this is really going to work unless, of course, the coupling height's messed up, and if I hook up a different car, it will work. Yeah, I'm not thinking that's going to go so well. Well, we'll run the big boy around. It looks like the real thing. The Hershey factory? I don't know. It's kind of cool that there are some people that watch the channel who have actually been there in person. SMT, I'd put some KD number 5s on my go-cars and made the world of a difference. The problem isn't the go-cars, though. These things hook up to each other just fine. They're all okay. It's the tender on the big boy. That's been full of problems. I think the coupling height is off. So, yeah. Have you ever been to Australia? I can't say I have. It is a place I would love to visit at some point in my life. We had a Hershey factory in our town in the 1980s. You could smell the chocolate all day long. That's what I've heard about any town that has a chocolate factory. I guess the process of roasting the beans is very fragrant, because that's what a lot of people who lived in Smith Falls said. Well, Hershey was open there. Is like during the afternoon, depending on which way the wind blew, the air would smell of chocolate. In fact, the scent of chocolate was so strong that when the factory was abandoned in 2008, and then in 2019 or 2018 they bought the whole factory, and they were going into rooms which had been abandoned for over 10 years, close to 12 years, and they still smelled like chocolate, even though the equipment and everything was long gone, which is pretty crazy. Do you own any brass locomotives? Yeah, I bought one just a few months ago, actually. We'll try to run it. Oh, not again. I'll see if that can stay connected for an entire lap. Nope. Does anyone else in your family enjoy trains? I've got a few other train nerds in the family. My dad likes them. He had a train set as a kid. So does my grandmother. In fact, that Hiawatha right there is actually hers. And my uncle is pretty big into the Lionel stuff. He grew up with those and still has a huge display with a ton of different Lionel stuff. I'll have to, one of these days, if I go out to his farm where he has most of his trains, I'll have to see if I can take you all on a tour of his collection. He'd probably be happy to share. Ant and Bruce, welcome to the live stream. BNSF Modeler 95, I've been watching you for a while. Do you think it would be possible to 3D print a shell and put it on an old locomotive chassis? Absolutely. It's been done, actually. I did a video about that, about making a fireless cooker out of a kit from Apogee Locomotive Works, and that's exactly what they did. They took a Bachmann drive and made a shell for it. Yeah, I'm not really sure we should try to haul the whole Santa Fe, or the Ghost set, I should say, with. I see something on the shelf in the LNER library. What is that? I think it's called a Cheshire. Love the look of the Bombardier coaches. Yeah, really great design. I have to say, too, Athearn did a pretty good job designing these into models, because they handle pretty well on the corners. I wish Rapido would do a Go Transit F7. It would be nice, because I'm sure it would be higher detailed than the Athearn model, but I gotta say, like, this Athearn model, other than the detail, has been nothing but solid. Still really quiet. Hasn't ever given me any trouble. Yeah, some upgrades, maybe some added handrails and stuff, and it could actually be a pretty fine model. I was tempted to buy a second one. I saw one at Larkspur going for, I think it was $100 with DCC, and didn't seem like too bad a deal, honestly. I don't know. Just didn't entirely see the point in owning two of them, I guess. You need to fix the Blue Goose and run it at the beginning of every live stream. I don't know about running it at the beginning of every live stream, but yeah, I definitely should get that engine up and going again. What's the worst train brand? Today? Well, I'm not trying to upset all the Bachmann fans out there, but if I'm honest, for the price to quality, I don't find they're the best. They're definitely not my first choice. There isn't, I don't know, like, Bachmann's not a horrible manufacturer. They're just not my favorite. I wouldn't really say that there's a bad one, but yeah, if I had to choose it, Bachmann is my least favorite. What is the Blue Goose? It's a steam locomotive I have. See if we can get some good rail fanning shots. Bachmann is a good entry-level train. I mean, if their prices were better, I'd totally agree, but what they're charging these days, they are the cheapest manufacturer. They make the cheapest products. I just don't find that, their prices are that impressive, especially considering Lifelike was making $50 train sets, and yeah, Bachmann set today is definitely higher quality than a Lifelike train set in 2005. but not by a long shot. Can't beat old blue box reliability. I completely agree. I think the Athearn blue boxes could be the most reliable type of locomotives ever created. Simple reason. You've got high quality parts, a good design. They were definitely put together properly, so good craftsmanship. And there's just not too much to go wrong. You know, it is all-wheel drive. It has a good motor in it and everything, but unlike a modern engine where you've got a expensive circuit board and a decoder and a whole variety of other things which might go wrong, the blue boxes just have... it's not even really wiring. It's just some strips of metal that the power travels through. So they're pretty durable as a result. Show the blue goose again. I'll just reverse the live stream to the point where I showed it. It's the same engine in the same spot. Nothing beats the used sales table. Yeah, absolutely. How do you fix the slipping worm gear? Okay, you have to be pretty careful doing this because you don't want to get adhesive on the gear itself. If that happens, you got a big problem. But just slip the gear up a little bit and put a tiny bit of CA. Just put it back over that. Clean the parts before you do it. Make sure there's no lubricants or anything because that will prevent the CA from working. And that usually fixes the problem. That's what I usually do if any parts are slipping. Just apply a bit of CA, so super glue. But yeah, drip a little bit out onto like some paper. Use a toothpick to apply it. You don't want to try to drip it directly on there. It will go everywhere. A while back, you did a repower on a locomotive with an eBay Chinese motor. Do you know what diameter the shafts were? And do you remember the supplier name or part number? Thanks in advance. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I wish I could say they're really generic though. I mean, just go on eBay and search for I think they're 12 to 24 volt motors, dual shaft. That's an important keyword. They're dual shaft motors, and you should be able to find them because I bought them from one of probably 20 different sellers selling the exact same part. So you should be able to find them, and I think they are all identical. I wish you could say what the diameter of the motor shaft is, but I just don't know, to be honest with you. 1, 2, or 3. What's that about? Do you have a 442 Atlantic locomotive? Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, that's what the Hiawatha is. SMT, everybody wants you to show the blue goose again. Yeah, just go back to the video, it's still up there. What do you think of the GP38-2? Fine locomotive. Hey SMT, I got a Rivarossi D and RGW 7 passenger car train set for $15. Oh, what a deal. Does the Hiawatha run? It does, yeah. Are there any trains in Nunavut, Canada? I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't know how far north the rail access goes. Do you want another big boy or a challenger? I have 3 big boys and 7 challengers. They both need work. Both Riverossi, I am serious too. I want to see them fixed. Have one for a static display. I'm not sure. Here's somebody wanted a cool shot of the Hiawatha. Here, I'll try to get the lighting fixed up first here. So for the person who wanted a cool shot of the Hiawatha, there she is. Do you think a railroad from Alaska to Alberta would be a good idea? They've been talking about doing one for decades. I mean, I have no clue what the logistics of building such a thing would be, but more trains the better. I'm for it. Virtual railfan view. Yeah, absolutely. You should fix your dad's 040 with the red roof. It runs. I could put a better motor in it. That would be a surefire upgrade, but yeah, it is operational. That Go F7 is a good-looking locomotive. I completely agree. SMT, do you have an O-gauge setup? It's not a table, but yeah, I've got a little loop on the floor. That's it. This is pretty much all of my O-gauge equipment. Charlie Morningstar, bye-bye. I'm going to bed now. Have a great night. Where did you get the go by levels? They were a gift from my uncle back when I was about 7. Do you have any Novelty Engines? I just bought a Toy Star train set, which is Mahano IHC from the late 90s, and it runs really well. I wouldn't consider that a novelty, and those IHC engines are pretty good. Yeah, I do have a few kind of oddball ones, though. Let's see if I can find them. Yeah, I've got this pretty wacky little steam engine. Somebody actually sent it in, and I mean, I don't even know what to say about this thing. It's so odd, but I mean, I like it. Very, very strange. Someone asked about the railroad crossing earlier. Yes, this was quite the thing. My grandparents actually built that. feel like there's another kind of oddball engine somewhere in the collection. Yes, okay, I found the other one. This never existed in real life. It's a Triang model. I forget what it's called. I think it's an R something. Horribly unrealistic, but it's kind of an interesting model. I've always been kind of fond of this design. But yeah, really, really odd. I mean, for people who are fans of F units and wouldn't want any variation, this I think would be considered a real sin, but I still like it. And I might have come across another one recently, but I don't want to spoil too much. That's double O gauge. Yeah, double O gauge HO. It's I know the scales are on paper different, but it runs on here. It's fine. As a matter of fact, we're gonna run that engine right now because it hasn't been out in a while. First thing I got to do is ram the cars on that line right there. Yes, it runs, although the flange is really deep. Well, that's where I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you, because you see, I just sat the engine down on some sandpaper, and it took care of that little problem. See how the flanges are slimmed down? It works fine like that too. Plus, we got some Code 100 tracks, so that should help with this particular engine. Triang track is slightly different than Code 100. Yeah, I think the rails are... I have some somewhere down here. You're right, the rails are a little thicker, but... It runs fine. What is Code 100 track? It's just the thickness of the rail. Oh, that's smooth. Wow. Yeah, look at this. If that's not mint, I don't know what is. Code 100 refers to the height of the rail. Yeah. Well, the height of the rail is certainly part of it. I always kind of thought it was just the gauge of the rail, because, I mean, the height is also affected by how big it is. Because, you know, I've seen, like, code... I can't remember. Lower than 83. I have some somewhere down here. And the rails are most definitely not the same width either. Like, look at this. See, like, you can hardly see the darn things. Code 83 and 73. I think that's 73. It's certainly not 83. Code 100 is usually the most common. Do you have any N-scale or G-scale locomotives? I can't say I do. Hi, SMT. I just joined the live stream, and I was wondering if you could run the scrap parts engine. It inspired me to make my own articulated steam locomotive from old Mantua parts, and it works well. I don't know where that engine is. It disappeared about a year ago, and I haven't seen it since. And Bruce, I haven't been to a train shop in 2 to 3 years due to COVID. SMT, are you ignoring my comments? I never intentionally ignore anybody's comments, I will say that. Sometimes I admittedly miss comments, or for whatever reason only certain comments are displayed, but I don't ignore anybody's comments unless they're, you know, like inappropriate or something like that. SMT, do you know how to open a Bachmann F7A FTA shell? I need to know how to remove the shells to fix the drive shaft. The drive shaft fell out. Usually you just lift up the two tabs on either side of the shell and it should just drop out. On more modern Bachmann engines, you have to work the coupler out, or in some cases remove the coupling box, but that's about it. SMT, do you have a play button? No, I don't have a play button. You only get a YouTube play button if you cross over 100,000 subscribers, I believe. I think that's when you get a silver one. I bought a fiberglass pen. Wow. Do you have a DD40? Chris Daniel, I use toothpick to slowly work out each side of the wedges of the chassis free from the shell. Yeah, that's one way to do it. I guess, yeah, if you did that, it would probably prevent it from locking back on. Interesting strategy. Anyway, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to run. Anything except running the big boy again, and I'll probably run it. Run the DD40, sure thing. What's the worst train you have that still runs? Probably the Chesapeake and on Fire locomotive, aka the likely 40s era Varney locomotive. It still goes. It actually runs kind of smooth, but the current draw is so high, I'm sure that motor is going to burn up. Can you run the CNRS3? Yeah, absolutely. Is that the one with the battery-powered horn? This is a modern engine. The one with the battery-powered horn is actually right over there. Can you run the penline switcher? I wish I could, because that's actually one of my favorite locomotives, but unfortunately it stopped running last live stream. I think one of the wires inside it has probably just torn apart. I don't know, just quickly here, I'll try to see if she'll go, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, well, I'll be darned. It does run. Never mind. Looks like a tracked mobile. Yeah, it kind of does. All yellow and black. Now, somebody put some effort into this thing because it actually has directional lighting, as you can see. Very nice touch. Best thing I ever sunk $5 into. Now, here's the Hobby Town, which I restored on the channel, I guess it'd be over a month ago now. And it hopefully still runs. That's not sounding too good. Yeah, I think some parts of the drive are definitely slipping because this thing is, sounds like the motor's revving a lot higher than it's actually moving. Let's give it the full amount of power here. Like, the only thing keeping this thing going right now is the flywheel. Let's try seeing if it will come back. Yeah, the drive's not working so great. Well, now it's going into the corner just fine. I don't even know what to say. This engine makes no sense. This might be kind of a unique vantage point. Might have to clean the wheels. Well, it's not stuttering anymore. That's the thing, though. I don't know if the motor just had to warm up or what the case is, but it seems to be running fine now. You ever sell trains after you fix them? I've given them to my train store for store credit, and I've given some away. So far, I haven't sold any. Can you show some of your train-related antique/decorations? Yeah, I got this vintage lantern. To my knowledge, this is from the UK. I forget the manufacturer. Dodo. Found this at an antique store in Maine. Pretty interesting little thing. And of course, we got the old crossing lights. Forget what kind these are. The BC Hayes. And then this crossing is not authentic, but it's a nice feature to have around. I think that's all the real rail-related stuff I have down here. Yeah, like every time I start this engine up, it's doing fine now, but like a second ago, it's funny. It's like you hear the motor rev for like a second before the engine. Yeah, like there. I know there's a gear reduction in this thing, but I still think something in the drive is slipping. Hey, SMG, what's up from New Jersey? I got somebody tuning in from the Garden State. Welcome. Randall Elson. All right, I think I better head out. Enjoyed the live stream, Harrison. Take care. Thanks for joining in. Is that the spider? Yes, this is the Spider Egg Amtrak locomotive. For anybody who doesn't know the backstory about this locomotive, basically a subscriber sent it in as a gift in non-working order, and I decided to do a video on fixing it up. See whatever was, plaguing it from running. The main problem was short circuits in the wheels. But once I got that sorted out, it still wouldn't run. And it turned out there was something wrong with the motor. So I took the whole drive apart. I got down to the motor. And inside the commutator, there was a spider egg. And it had completely jammed up the commutator. And the way this engine works is that the power actually flows up through the motor to get to the circuit board. So if power's not flowing through the commutator, not only will the engine not run, but the lights and everything else will also not work. So yeah, I've never seen that happen before. Very, very weird. But it did make for an exciting repair, and it's a fine running engine now too. So yeah, overall, probably one of my favorite videos I think I've ever filmed. I really enjoyed that repair. I like the thumbnail. Run the Rivarossi Dreyfus with a train. Yeah, why not? Dreyfus with its kit. As in its cars? All right. Lit up coaches. Yeah, 2 of them are lit. What other streamlined steamers do you have? I've got the Hiawatha. Yeah, the Blue Goose. I'm definitely missing some though. I'm restoring my original childhood train cars, which I butchered. So what paint stripper do you recommend? I don't know. I'd probably just find something that claims to be plastic safe. I think that's likely the most important. Unless you're dealing with metal parts, in which case, you know, you pretty much use whatever you like, as far as I know. But yeah, test it on a random piece of plastic first, because you don't want to put something which might melt the plastic, if that's what you're working with. I was having a problem with a Proto 2000 GP9 locomotive. Oh, okay, that comment was actually for someone else. What's the longest train you can build with your most powerful engine? I have a Varney locomotive from the 50s with a 7-pole motor. If I fixed that thing up and got it running perfectly, I suspect it could easily haul over 50 cars. I've never tried it, but it's likely got capacity for that many. It all depends, though. It's never a perfect measurement because, of course, all cars are different weights, and that will have an effect too. I've used Easy Off Oven Cleaner to strip paint. I've heard that from other people too. I've never tried it personally, but that's a good thing to know. Daniel, okay. Here's another one of these comments. I don't intentionally ignore anybody. There are some comments that are not shown up or something, but I don't know. I get a lot of these comments, people saying that I ignore them, and I don't do that. I elect that he gets 50 cars on the track. Sounds like quite the project. SMT, if you ever get to New Jersey, would love for you to come visit. You can treat my trailer for trains like a hobby store, except the price will be free. It's awfully generous. How long does the average HO rail system last with maintenance before it needs to be fully replaced? I don't think that there's really a specific amount of time, and I mean, there's a lot of different factors, like, you know, if you're in a very humid environment, that'll probably shorten the lifespan of the track, and even wear on the rails, you know, they do eventually wear down. But like, for example, my club was formed in the 1980s, and as a result, some of their layouts date back to that, including the track, and they're still using it to this day. So yeah, there isn't really a specific amount of time that your track will last. It really depends on many different things, but like anything, there will be a wear over time, especially switches. I found some brands of switches have actually had problems where you know, the parts have actually worn out, which is pretty crazy. A number of my locomotives refuse to run. 3 out of 9 run properly. I think those locomotives might need their wheels cleaned. Any good wheel cleaning you recommend? I'm all out of ideas. I mean, really, whatever you want to use to clean track is pretty much good to clean the wheels on your locomotive as well. Usually I just use, you know, like 90% rubbing alcohol and Q-tips. And you just run the engine a little, you know, you need to get the whole wheel. So you can just do that a few times. Another thing too, if you have a spare controller, you can hook that up and actually get the engine running. You can take a track brake and just actually apply that to the wheels, and that will clean it up really well. Same thing can be done with a fiberglass pencil. Some manufacturers, I think Woodland Scenic sells a thing called a Tidy Track, which you actually place the engine on and it should clean the wheels. Never been a big fan of that myself. Randall Elson's recommending the Katie Wheel Cleaner. I've never worked with the Katie Wheel Cleaner myself, but my club has one and I've seen them using it. It looks like a pretty effective tool, so that is something you could do. Chris Daniel says uses Lysol wipes, lay a towel down on the rails, apply power, do one end, train the locomotive around, do the other. Okay, I've seen that same trick done with rubbing alcohol, where you just put a piece of paper towel applied. So I didn't know you could use Lysol wipes, though. That's good to know. But yeah, I mean the proof's in the pudding, right? Like, you look, and if the wheels look really nice and shiny, they probably are clean. So just try a bunch of different things and find out what works best for you, really. It's not necessarily a right way of doing it. Or, I guess the right way of doing it is just whatever gets them clean. Well, anyway, we're about 10:36 at night, so I think I will probably end off the live stream because I do have work tomorrow. But I'd like to thank you all so much for joining in this evening. It's been wonderful getting to run some trains around and talk with all of you. So, yeah, I just want to thank you all so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. Anyways, I think with that, we'll end things off for the evening. Have a great night, everyone.